Hey all, Tony Bing here. Hello and welcome back to another video for Marvel Strike Force. Now tonight I will be showcasing a change to the tier lists that I use in my in-depth reviews. And this is a change I've been wanting to do for quite some time. It doesn't in any way make the previous in-depth reviews obsolete or anything like that, because I still have the same tiers. It's tier 1 to 3, and then we have Alpha and Omega, but I've been wanting to move about some of the characters a little bit, and I've been wanting to identify characters that really shine in raids specifically, because it's a very important mode. And recently we've had a few characters like Storm, for example, a character that's very weak outside of raids, but in raids she's exceptionally powerful. So I've been wanting to put that into the tier list in some way. So what I'll do first is I'll bring up the existing tier list to show you that, and then once I've quickly talked through that, we'll then go into the next tier list. Some characters have moved up or down very slightly, so I'll run over all of the characters and very quickly explain the rationale for their placement. But here we go, let's check out the existing tier list. So this is the last version in the tier list, and this is the one that I actually included in the Carnage in-depth review, so it's the most up-to-date one. Now, we've got all the usual tiers, so we've got level 1, 2 and 3, we have Alpha and Omega, we've got low, mid and high. That won't change at all when we have this new tier list system, but what I've done is I've tried to spread out the characters a bit more, because you can see that a lot of characters are grouped together, but we have all this additional space in the tier list. And I do feel that through time, a character that may have been god tier before, let's say Yondu is a perfect example, with new characters coming out and us having an element of power creep in the game and synergy's been much more important. A character like Yondu wouldn't be god tier anymore, so that's a little hint that he's going to move for the next section. But that's the existing list, so let's check out the new one. So this is the new setup here, and it is largely similar to the one we had before. You can see I've expanded the tiers for Alpha and also level 3, because that's where the bulk of the characters in the game fall. But that's actually a good thing that most of the characters are grouped together. It means there's not as much disparity in regards to the power levels. You'll notice as well a few characters have the letter R over them. That's characters and their placement is based on raids. I've got a key down the bottom right, you can see that there, that explains that. The top left for Omega, now that for me is my one above all tier, and it's reserved for the best of the best heroes. So when Ultron's finally unlocked and I get to play him, well, I say he's unlocked, once I get to unlock Ultron and can actually play him and review him, he will very likely be going into that tier, because looking at his kit, he's one of the strongest characters in the game by a wide margin. We have a few characters as well, as we run over them, that through synergies I would say actually push themselves into that top one above all tier as well, but that's why it's blank for now, that particular section. So what I'll actually do with the quick rundown of the differences in the tier list explained, I'll run through the characters very quickly now. So we're starting off with Scientist Supreme first here. She's moved from low level 1 to mid level 1. The reason being, we have a lot of characters that apply debuffs now, and she can actually flip them into buffs, so she's slightly more useful, but she's still trash tier. The next character up we have is Hulk, who's fell down, I think it's 1 or 2 spots he's went down. There's simply no need to use him at all, and with a lot more fast characters coming to the game recently, the speed seems to be going through the roof for characters. It's made Hulk's low speed, which is down in the region around about 70, it's just made him next to useless. Following on from him we have Bullseye. He's at high level 2, so there's no change with him at all there. He can do decent damage, but his passive and the rest of his kit is just really underwhelming. The next character we have, it would be Elektra, so I've spread out level 3 a bit more here. Most of the characters were top level 3, but I've got a better spread, I believe, that indicates the different power levels for them. So Elektra's at the bottom here. Her ultimate can hit like a truck, but outside that she doesn't have a massive amount going on in her kit. For the mid level 3, we have Iron Fist first. Now it seems odd that he's here, but it's all about synergies. You can see that he would move up 6 spots with synergies, so he would actually move to mid Omega if you put him in the right team, and that right team of course would be alongside defenders. We have Optimus, there's no change there. Through synergies with the Kree now, he could potentially move up 1 slot to high level 3. Groot, again, there's no change with him at all. He's a character that, due to his slow speed, that's why he's really here, but pairing him up with the Guardians for additional speed and pairing him up with Rocket, I would say would move him to a low alpha character. Next one we have, or actually the next 4 we have here, have all moved down one place. Previously they were high level 3, so we have Winter Soldier and Thor. They've moved down, again it's due to the speed here. The synergies they have, the +1 would be pairing them up with a character that can offer speed such as Black Widow, because they can hit very hard but they're just very slow. So if you can speed them up, it pulls them up slightly there. Wolverine's down here as well. He's a character that really does need a rework in my opinion, and outside his ultimate when you're below 50% health really doesn't offer much at all. And then we have Nebula as well. She's a good character, she's got quite a lot of buffs that she can put on herself, but her base stats are really low, and we're seeing new characters come out with much higher base stats. For high level 3 we have Luke Cage. There's no change there, he would move up 4 slots, that would put him to a low Omega character through synergies. That's of course with the Defenders. We then have Mordo, again no change there, he would move up 1 slot with Loki, because you have the synergy where Mystic characters defeated, it actually gives him energy, and that can give him some nice uptime on the blinds and the stun that he can do as well. Wasp is in level 3 high, and she was there previously as well. She would move up 1 slot with Ant-Man to low alpha. We have Green Goblin, again no change there, he moves up 2 slots with a Spider-Verse team to mid alpha. And then we have Miss Marvel now. She was a high level 3 before, but through synergies she can really be pretty incredible now. You pair her up with the likes of Black Panther, Kimora, Spider-Man, Deadpool, and pretty soon Captain Marvel, and she can be absolutely insane. So through synergies I would say she would actually move to a mid Omega character, because she's doubling up in every attack you do if you put her in a hero brawler team. You finally have, for high level 3, you have Mystique here. She's a good character, but she really needs the Brotherhood to shine, and that's why through synergies she would move up 3 spots, so she would move up to high alpha, so there's no change in Mystique there. We then have our low alpha characters. We've seen a few characters drop down to this tier, and we've seen 1 or 2 characters move up to this tier. Now, one mistake I do hold my hands up to, when I reviewed Jessica Jones, she should have been higher. Previously I had her as a high level 3 on her own, but she really has a pretty great character, and I've upgraded her basic recently, and she hits like a truck with that. So I've moved her up to a low alpha character. Through synergies she would move to a low Omega character. We have Korath, Ant-Man, Scarlet Witch and Drax. None of them have moved position at all, and we don't have any special synergies that really change their positioning at all. The next character we have is Nick Fury. He was previously a low alpha character, and now have it that he would move up 5 slots. So that means that with synergies, so that would be with the Shield team, I would actually place him as a 1 above all character, because the Shield team is just on another level to everything else in the game. Next 2 characters we have are 2 that have moved down 1 slot. So we have Cable. He is a powerful character. The additional turn meter you get at the start of a turn can be very good in the likes of Arena or Blitz, but when I question myself, do I ever use Cable? And I actually don't. I don't really use him in any teams at all, so that's the reason I moved him down slightly there. Maybe once we get more mutants I reckon he'll become more powerful, but for now he's now a low alpha character. He would move up 1 slot with Deadpool because they've got some nice synergies. And we have Nobu, who's moved down 1 place as well. The lack of synergies, or the lack of really strong synergies you have with the Hand, are the reason he's moved down to this place. On the next line here, we start off with War Machine, a character I covered recently. Now you may ask, why is War Machine below Iron Man? If you watched the in-depth review, it was all down to that taunt he has. 9 times out of 10 I actually find it gives me more problems than it actually helps. So that's the reason for his positioning. His one synergy would be in a tech teamer with Iron Man, that would move him up. We then have Venom. He can synergise very well with the Spider-Verse team, and his rating stayed the same. Night Nurse has moved from a high alpha character down to a low alpha character. She certainly fell behind with some of the more recent characters we've had for raids, and if you also look at her stats in regards to her base health, maxed out it's only round about 70,000, whereas genuinely now with healers their health will be up around 100,000, so that's something that certainly does harm her. It means she's not healing for as much because her heals are percent based. We have Punisher next. There's no change there. Through synergies, I would say that Punisher would actually move up to a mid and mega character. You pair him up with Daredevil and the Defenders and he can absolutely decimate villain teams. He really can. It's a sight to behold when you see him going up against a villain's team and getting all the assists and just melting through them. The next two characters we have are Brotherhood characters, and there's no change here. So you have Juggernaut, who's a great character, and he's one that's popping up in Arena all the time now, and he's actually really hard to counter. Through synergies with the Brotherhood, the 2-turn taunt, the gain in the turn meter, I would move him up to a mid and mega character. And then finally for this low alpha section we have Sabretooth. He was here previously before as mentioned, and through synergies he would move up to a lower mega character. Moving on to the next tier here, we start off with Iron Man. He's a good character. The reason for his placement as a mid-alpha, it's the huge amount of crit he can provide to tech characters, and the tech setup in the game is actually really pretty strong, and he makes them even stronger. Through synergies with War Machine, which is a death proof, and buffing War Machine, he would move up one place to high alpha. We then have Black Panther. He was previously a mid-alpha character. The one synergy he has, I was very close to actually giving him +2 here rather than +1. It's with Miss Marvel, because you're getting 2 attacks, which means there's a higher chance that you'll actually defeat an enemy, and even if Miss Marvel gets a killing blow, it will still fill his actual speed meter completely if you've maxed out the passive, and that can be really amazing. Now, on the subject of things that are really amazing, you've got Rocket next. On his own, he's a mid-alpha character. If you pair him up with the likes of Groot and Star-Lord, then without a doubt he would move up to a mid and mega character. He's really amazing, and he just absolutely shreds and raids. Actually, if you pair him up with Thanos, that can be a really nice setup as well. Next character we have, no change here in the tier list and no type of special synergy. Doctor Strange, a solid character. It's really all down to his flip, and you've also got the offense down on his basic, which can be really nice there, but the offense down in basic is only 1 to 2 turns, where if it was 2 turns guaranteed, then it might push him up a little bit, but for now I would say he still remains a mid-alpha character. Next up we have Daredevil. I believe he's moved up slightly, because even on his own he can really still hit like an absolute truck, especially against villains. He's a character I use quite a lot in Arena now. Through synergies he would move up to a mid and mega category. Deadpool is up next. No change in Deadpool at all, so he's still a mid-alpha character. The synergies with Cable would move him up one place, and then we have, finishing up the mid-alpha section, we have Miles Morales here, and this is where I rated him when I previously done the video for him. So through synergies, that would be specifically with Spider-Man, where he gets the turn meter and Spider-Man dodges, that would move him up to a high alpha character there. For our high alpha characters, we start off with Kingpin here. He has moved down slightly. He's still a very strong character. The defense up and the offense up are amazing in certain setups. All the assists you get with villains are amazing as well, but it's just really down to power creep and more powerful characters coming out that he's moved down slightly there. Through synergies, that would specifically be with the likes of Crossbones, or even with a full villain team, I would say would move up to low Omega. We have Crossbones next. Nothing's changed with him. It's all about the detonate. If you get that off, he can be absolutely lethal, but just don't try and use him as a tank. Look at him as more as a blaster class. Gamora's up next there. No change of Gamora's rating. She's still a bit of a beast. We have Thanos. Now, with Thanos, he's exceptionally strong in a lot of game modes. Raid specifically, where if you place him next to cosmic characters, he's getting all that energy on kills. So if you pair him up with the likes of, let's say you put Rocket next to him, you can almost get the ultimate on every turn. So that's why the +2 to synergies are there, and that would pull him up to a mid and mega character. We have another character that's got the R rating, so that means they're placed based on their raid performance. So it is Mantas. If you watched in-depth review recently, you would know she is exceptionally strong in raids, so I think potentially Minerva may be beaten, and I need to spend a bit more time in Minerva just to figure out in regards to that placement. We then have my main man Clint. There's no change in his rating there. He's a great controller, although ever since Vision has come out he's kind of been put in the corner a little bit, unfortunately there. Unfortunately for me, that is. The next character we have is Storm. She's moved up a fair bit. She used to be a mid-level 3 character, but when you look at her, it's specifically from a raid perspective, where you can charge her up and go in and absolutely decimate a really difficult node such as that 4 node in Optimus 6, then I would have to place her as a high alpha character. But bear in mind that's based specifically on raids. In other modes she really leaves a lot to be desired. Next character we have, it's another legendary one, and it's another legendary character that through synergies I believe would move into the one above all tier. That's the high Omega tier. So it is of course Magneto. Really don't have to break down his kit. If you've played the game you know he's an absolute beast with that turn 1 blind on everyone, and now in fact since they've updated it, you can no longer place Drax in one corner to stop a character in the far corner not getting the blind, and it's made him exceptionally powerful. You have Yondu up next, a character that's moved down a few spaces here. The reason being he doesn't really have a strong a kit as some of the newer characters that are coming out. His kit's still very strong, but some of the other new characters are really pretty insane. You've got the changes to his passive, where you've got the fact that his passive was clarified and it's not as powerful as we once believed it to be. And he's also not really getting any synergies as well. He's another character, a bit like Cable, that when I looked at him I had to think, when was the last time I used him? And outside of one Blitz team I don't really use him often at all. So that's the reason he's moved down slightly there, but still a very good character. We have our only minion next. There's no change here. It's the Hand Sentry, is a fantastic character with his special and the low cooldown on it, providing the stealth and the evade as well, so he's still high alpha. Loki's up next, again no change. Through synergies that would be with other Mystic controllers, specifically with Mordo he can work well. He would move up to the low Omega slot. And then we have our final Brotherhood member, so it's Pyro. Pyro would move up 2 slots through synergies because he can really gain a lot from being paired up with the Brotherhood team, and he's a pretty awesome character as well. When you upgrade his special to level 7 and you get that 2 turns of bleed, even though it should be burn, but the 2 turns of bleed and also the cleanse, it's really amazing. Now moving on to the final tier here, so this is the low Omega tier. I have Star-Lord here. There's no change with this at all. Through synergies, this is specifically with the likes of Rocket Raccoon, but he's really great with other Guardians. He would move up to a mid Omega character. Captain America and Quake are both characters that were previously way up the top before, slightly moved down. They're still exceptionally strong characters, but I don't feel they can be in the top tier anymore. Captain America, the reason he's moved down a little bit, it maybe seems slightly unfair, but he's all about running in an Avengers team, and the Avengers team isn't as strong as it could be, so that's the reason he's dropped down. It's his teammates have let him down almost. With Quake, she's still exceptionally strong, but a lot of characters now, they're very hard hitting skills, like Quake's ultimate actually come preloaded in turn 1, whereas you have to build it up a few turns for Quake, so that's the reason she's there. Moving on to the final category then, we've managed to get through this in not bad time considering we're discussing over 80 characters, but the final category, 4 characters I've got here. We have a few new entries, so we have Spider-Man. The reason he's so great, he can fit into any team. His passive is amazing, his basic's pretty awesome as well. When I think about it, his ultimate's amazing, and then you've got the special with the 2 turns of defense down. So that's the reason he's here, and he can slot into any team. Same goes with Black Widow. She's an exceptional character with the speed up. She can slot in and help any team. Same applies for Vision once again. If you place Vision in a tech team, he gets even stronger, but I don't believe it would be enough to pull him up to the one above all tier. And then finally we have Carnage. Carnage is a character that I was very close to actually put him as a low Omega character, because when you're playing with him, if you don't have debuffs on the other team, he can slow down a little bit, but when you look at everything else in his kit, he still is exceptionally strong. So that's all the characters covered. The 3 characters then that would be in the high Omega tier, it would be Nick Fury and Magneto through synergies. It'll be Ultron once he's eventually released, and I don't yet have Ronan and Minerva covered here because I've still to do that in-depth reviews. But as always, let me know in the comments below what you think of the new format. Let me know what you think of the placements and the characters, but I will say that if you think a character should maybe be 1 space higher or 1 space lower, I'd probably agree with you, because it's incredibly subjective doing a video such as this, and it can be quite difficult to place certain characters. Although if you do say that you think Scientist Supreme would be higher, I'd have to disagree with you there. But thanks for tuning in as always. I'll see you all again soon.